Hi, I'm Paulina Lopez Argueta, and I'm a student of Tech Milenio, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Cold War. It started after the Second World War finished, and it refers to a political and military tension between the two most powerful countries in those times, the United States that had the Western Bloc, and the Soviet Union with the Eastern Bloc. Well, here we can see how the blocks were divided. United States controlled this part, and the Soviet Union the other half of the globe. Well, but why do we call this a Cold War if it really wasn't a war? Well, both countries wanted to have all the power around the world, and their principal goal was to implant their government, but they didn't agree with the same type of government. United States um, went with the capitalism, and the Soviet Union with the communism. Later, we'll depend on this um, subject. Well, to get into the term of Cold War, I'm going to explain you a little bit of the events that happened on this time. Most of the historians divide this period in three phases. The first one is the maximum stress. During this phase, um, an important event was the Berlin Crisis in 1961, which was caused by the Earth when they gave an ultimatum to Germany to take off their troops, and it concluded with the construction of the Berlin Wall, as we can see on this picture. This wall divided Berlin into two sides, and one side had forbidden to get to the other, and so the other side. So if your family and friends were in the other side, well, you were screwed. And well, as we can see on this picture, we can watch how the city was divided and which were the countries who dominated this specific part. But well, after the Berlin Crisis, another conflict during this phase was the Korean War. This was a military conflict between North and South Korea. Well, it really wasn't a conflict between they both. It was the problem more that North Korea was supported by the Soviet Union to implement communism, and the South part was backed by the United States to implement capitalism. That's, I don't know if you can get the term of Cold War. They didn't confront like face to face. Uh, they were like covered with something. Well, but after this conflict, we get to the second phase that it's named the peaceful coexistence. An important point is that on this phase, Stalin died. He was a fundamental piece of the war, but a little bit later we'll talk about him. Well, um, while he passed away, Eisenhower took the control of the US. Here we can see Eisenhower. Well, another fundamental and a very popular conflict is the missile crisis in Cuba. The, so what is this? Well, the problem was that the Soviet Union started to build a base in Cuba in order to put missiles and point to the USA. They had missiles in the Soviet Union, of course, but they were really, really far. So in Cuba, there were like more close, and there were more possibilities to shoot. But when the United States heard about this, they started to block the Soviet Union ships, and they were that in a point they were front to front that they almost finished the Cold War to start a real and a huge one, but they didn't. So they were just like, mm, they were just playing. But well, after this crisis, we have the Vietnam War, in which participated South Vietnam with the support of the United States and other nations against the Viet Cong and the Army of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. This was the north part of Vietnam, backed by China, but mainly by the Soviet Union. So this was like a problem like in Korea, the north part supported by the Soviet Union and the south part by the United States. But well, after the Vietnam War, we get to the last phase, the regrowth of the Cold War. As a consequence of the past events, Reagan gets into the presidency of the USA, and to follow the order and get to the end of the war, Gorbachev gets into the power in the Soviet Union, and with this, the socialist bloc is dissolved. And we can say that the capitalism won. And, and well, then now that we know the main parts of the war, we can talk a little bit more about the communism and capitalism and the people who started all this. Let's start with communism. Well, as I said before, the Soviet Union were the ones who follow and implement this type of government, but it won't really consist. Well, it is more a social ideology characterized by the communitary life, the abolition of the private property, but its principal idea and goal was elimination of the social classes. In communism, everybody has the same value, the same everything, and everyone the same. Well, that's the idea. As we can read on this image, it says, you have two cows. The state takes both and gives you some milk. The state is the on charge to give you everything you need, just the essential, but the government is going to give you. So everybody, your neighbor, your aunt, your mom has the same. Everybody has the same. That's the idea. Well, this doctrine is based on the Marxism, but the real leader was Stalin, as we said. He was the one who really implemented and used the ideology. Well, then we have capitalism. With capitalism, here's another image about this. And with capitalism, it's the opposite about the communism. The private property exists. There were social classes, as we can see in here. There are more like the social classes. Here it says, we work for you, we eat for you, we kill for you, we fool you, we rule you, and the profit, it's like the real the one who governs. But it's an abstract concept because most of the people point this as bad, but it's not really bad. I think that we are just not prepared to use this type of government. Society needs to grow up and to be more mature in order that we can use capitalism. But I also don't like socialism because I don't think it's fair that the ones who work more receive the same as the ones who work less. So I don't know. I think we need to invent a new one or to mature and use capitalism. But well, here are the main concepts, and I hope I didn't bore you and you like it. Bye. Well, after all the concepts and all the history, I'm going to ask some people what they prefer, capitalism or communism. And I'm also going to ask them what's their opinion about the Cold War, what they think about this period of time. So now let's watch what they answer. Hi, can you tell me your name?
Tomas Lopez,
How old are you?
48 years old,
What is your profession?
librarian.
Can you tell me your general opinion about the Cold War?
Yes, the Cold War was a struggle for the power. Capitalism and communism were against the war. Political and ideological differences. They put the war in real risk for a nuclear catastrophe. Many people died. I wasn't actually a Cold War, the famous era of secret agents. I believe that finally the capitalism won, and nowadays the difference between the poor and wealthy people are a lot.
Mm, for what type of government would you like? Would you prefer to be governed by the capitalism or communism?
Well, I would prefer the socialism, loud, without corruption. The ideology is more pure, noble, and humanity.
That's all. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Hello, can you tell me your name?
Yes, Andrea Lopez Argueta,
How old are you?
22 years old,
What is your profession?
industrial designer student.
Can you tell me your general opinion about the Cold War?
Yes, well, I think it was an stupid war because between the USA and the Soviet Union wanted all the power, and I think that only one country can have it.
Okay. If you could choose the government that you would be governed, which would you prefer, capitalism or communism?
I prefer the capitalism because I think that everyone should work for what they want, and not all the people have the same things,
Okay.
and that's all.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.